It's Thursday, June 22nd, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Town Councilor John Flores. He's going to talk to us about a project to update Barnstable Village. Then we'll chat with Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn. And finally, we'll talk with State Representative Tim Whalen. We're going to talk to him about some changes to the current marijuana law. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Airport Manager Bud Briault announces plans to retire. Briault announced he will retire next February at the end of his current contract. Briault has worked as airport manager since 2009. Briault told the Airport Commission this week that he will stay on long enough to assist his successor. Congratulations, Bud. You will definitely be missed here in the town of Barnstable. The town's Growth Management Department has officially changed its name. It will now be known as the Planning and Development Department. The name change is an effort to better reflect its emphasis on comprehensive planning, economic development, and addressing the Cape's housing needs. The renaming was championed by Town Manager Mark Ells and approved by Town Council on May 4th. Well, kids won't have to go hungry this summer. That's thanks to a new program being offered at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. The Food for Kids program will run from June 26th through August 25th. The program will offer free lunch from 12:15 to 1 and a free snack from 3 to 3:30 every Monday through Friday. Assistant Recreation Director John Gleason and Youth Center Manager Mark Boardley worked very hard to bring that program to the HYCC. For more information, you can contact the Hyannis Youth and Community Center. Well, now is the time to get rid of that old paint, stain, or other hazardous waste sitting around in your garage. This Saturday, the Barnstable Transfer Station, along with Barnstable County, will host a hazardous waste collection day. Participants must have a household trash sticker or free recycling sticker. The hazardous waste collection will take place from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the transfer station in Marston's Mills this Saturday. Well, up next is our chat with Town Councilor John Flores. So thank you so much for joining me today. Very excited to talk about a big project you've actually been working on for a while now. This is to update Barnstable Village and make it a little bit more safe for pedestrians in the village. Tell me a little bit about this project.
Sure. It's called the Barnstable Streetscape Project. It's sort of had a number of stops and starts over the years. Fortunately, we've managed to put a few $1 million into the FY 18 and 19 budget to make this happen, coming out of transportation funds, better known as Chapter 90. Towards that end, we have had a number of community meetings over the past year, in particular working with the Barnstable Village Association. They have a long-range planning committee who are all instrumental in helping eventually come up with a plan that's now being looked at and hopefully embraced by the community as a whole. In addition, we had some other specific residents from the community who were invited to be part of it, folks who were active and have been active for a number of years and have a history also relative to what the village has been and where it is and perhaps what we want it to look like. So with that being said, we had a number of meetings over the past year, fall, spring, summer, where we in essence brought together a group to look at a plan that was designed by Environmental Partners, which is a planning entity out from Quincy, Massachusetts, actually. They won the bid. They had probably the best, if you will, proposal that reflected, I think, the culture and philosophy of Barnstable and what it was that we were looking for. I served on that selection committee, so I've been with this right from the get-go. So I have an investment of time, an investment of passion, and really an investment of what's in the best interest of the folks in the village. When we looked at the entire plan, we have really promulgated all of our issues and concerns around speed mitigation, traffic safety, always focusing on pedestrian safety. What is it that we need to do to make that happen? Well, first you have to look at how far and how wide this project spreads. It basically begins from Rendezvous Lane on Route 6A down to Millway, in the corner of Millway and 6A, and then down to the harbor. So it's a pretty good distance.
Yeah, but that seems pretty extensive.
It is, and part of it, we divided it into really 3 subsets. There was the road structure, there was the sidewalk structure, there was the lighting, and then signage and things of that nature. How do we maintain the integrity and the feel of the village in terms of what the community wants it to be, but at the same time upgrade everything so that it reflects 21st century values as well as a feel and a look that coincides in what people have been traditionally accustomed to.
And I read a little bit about the project. One thing I read that they wanted to redo some sidewalks, but they want to maintain that brick sidewalk. And that's really important, I think, for Barnstable villagers to have that.
Yeah, well, there's 2 things that really come into play with the brick sidewalks. First, I thoroughly agree 100%. We want to maintain the brick sidewalks, but we want to reset them in a stone dust where they don't move and they don't shift, because right now they really are not ADA compliant, because some are up a ½ inch, others are up a couple of inches. So that needs to be corrected. At the same time, there are a lot of folks who invested time and money in purchasing bricks in memory of their loved ones or a particular event or a particular occasion, and they're interspersed throughout the entire sidewalks. So we wanted to be sure that we maintained those bricks also. So I can go on record saying that the bricks with the names and the numbers and the events that have been memorialized, if you will be maintained. The rest of the bricks will be reset. We might put them in different patterns, different feel, different look, but that's one part of it is the brick sidewalks, a very critical part.
What about crosswalks? Are there any updates or changes to the crosswalks in the area?
Yes, we're looking at putting right now on the plan a crosswalk down towards, if memory serves me correct, near St. Mary's Church. A couple right within the village, sort of shifting them so that they follow a more natural path or a more natural line coming down from the court complex. And then at the intersection of Millway and Finney's Hyannis Road, where you have the traffic lights, that will all be redesigned with new crosswalks, a new feel, a new look. In the middle of the village, we're looking at having some of those crosswalks be a little raised so that, once again, that mitigates traffic speed. Because what you have really happening is from the east side where the Unitarian church is, as well as way on the west side towards Old Jill Lane, you have these 2 hills that sort of are funneling into the village. So it's almost like, the village becomes a valley. And so people are picking up speed, and sometimes intentionally, but more often than not unconsciously. All of a sudden you're doing 40 miles an hour coming through the village, and really it's only designed for 20-25 miles per hour. So with all of that being said, we're looking at mitigating the speed of the traffic by possibly putting in some medians with grass in the middle of them, restructuring the crosswalks, having some of them raised, making the sidewalks a little bit more safer so that if someone were to trip and fall, they don't fall in towards 6A, they go the other way for safety purposes. So it's in a very extensive project, and again, a lot of input from a lot of different folks. And the current iteration that we presented at our first community meeting, which was a few weeks ago, I think was well received with some reservations. I think sometimes when you present at meetings, usually a few weeks later, people come back and say, oh, I don't think I like that now. I really want to reflect on it. And so we have another meeting coming up on June 27th, 3 to 5 p.m. And I hope the entire world is watching this so that anybody who wants to come is aware that it will be happening 3 to 5 at the Harborview Room.
Because planners and the people who developed this plan really want feedback from the public, because they really want to have that knowledge from residents who use that area every day and can really give them feedback about what is practical and what isn't.
Well, that's one of the priorities that I looked for when we were actually awarding the contract over a year and a half ago, was that I wanted to be sure that the company that came in would listen to what the residents really wanted and had a level of sophistication and creativity to turn that into a plan that everybody could sort of rally around and say, yeah, we really like what that looks like. It makes us feel good and it makes us feel proud to be part of the village. And I think really environmental partners, including their subcontractors, there's a lighting subcontractor, there's a engineering subcontractor, there's traffic flow subcontractors. I think all of them collectively have really come up with what I consider to be a quality plan that will bode well for us for our own immediate future as well as future generations, and takes into consideration, I think, the passion of what people want and what people at least have shared with me. Will there be naysayers? That goes with the territory. It goes without speaking. You know, you can't please everybody 100%, but our goal is to really reach consensus, get people involved in the project, letting them feel that it's been an open process, that they've had the opportunity to give input, and then subsequently come up with a plan that hopefully, if we get this on the appropriate timeline, which the meeting coming up June 27th, we'll finalize this during the fall and early winter, with the first shovel in the ground going the spring of 2018, going through the 2018 building season and finishing during the 2019 building season, and then moving forward from there. But one other area that we are looking for, and it is troublesome, we somehow but we would love to be able to bury the wiring in the power lines. And that's a little more expensive than I think we can afford right now, but once again, it's something that we're looking at. But road surfaces, sidewalks, curbing, plantings, flowers, that sort of thing, all of those collectively combined to mitigate the number one priority, which is pedestrian safety, mitigating the speed so that we don't have any accidents or problems down the road.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in, chatting about
pleasure.
the project. We really appreciate it, and of course encourage everyone who's watching to attend that meeting Tuesday, June 27th at the County Complex. That's taking place in the Harbor View Conference Room at the Barnstable County Complex. My guest today, Town Councilor John Flores.
Thank you very much.
And now we chat with Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn. So Andy, a couple weeks on the job. How are you liking the town of Barnstable so far?
I like it very much.
Yeah, we hope you say that.
Absolutely. No, I sincerely mean it. It's been great.
Well, you have gotten right to work, been very busy your first few weeks here in the town of Barnstable. This week you're going to help with lifeguard orientation. That is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Our beaches are opening up this weekend. Our lifeguards are getting oriented this Friday. Look forward to talking with them. Obviously near and dear to my heart with my Coast Guard experience. So,
yes.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't believe we're here at the end of June already. It seems like time is flying by. So very excited to have that. And then swim lessons, of course, will begin Monday.
That's correct. Swim lessons start Monday. Patty's doing a great job getting all the programs ready. We've got Public Works working diligently to get some last minute details done on a few construction projects to upgrade some of the sites where the lessons are occurring. So it's a challenge, but I think we'll be ready, and it should be a great summer.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait. We're going to hope that all this rain that we've been experiencing goes by the wayside, and we can just get down and dirty and enjoy the summer.
That's right. Summer's here.
Bud Brialt made an announcement this week at the Airport Commission meeting that he is planning on retiring at the end of his contract, which I believe is next February.
That's correct. Yeah, I saw Bud yesterday, and he let us know, gave us heads up that he was going to tell the commission last night that he was going to retire at the end of his contract. So obviously we're sad to let him go, but boy, he sure should be proud of what all has happened at the airport. I mean,
yeah, he's done a great job.
Unbelievable amount of construction over the past several years out there. All new runways, terminal, tower. It's pretty incredible what they've done. The solar project, it goes on, and he's done a great job, and he should be proud of it. And I'm sure Katie's very thrilled that so much has gotten done.
Well, and that's interesting too. Thinking about succession planning. I know Bud said he wanted to stay on until his successor was ready to take over. So it must be nice for you guys that Bud's giving such a long notice so that everyone has time to make sure everything's in place and ready to go, and that it's a smooth transition.
Absolutely. Succession planning is very important. Obviously, Bud worked for the town before the Airport Commission hired him, 8-10 years ago? And obviously, we hope that there's some in-house candidates. The Airport Commission will be obviously handling that particular job, but yeah, hopefully Katie and others will be, in the queue, so to speak.
Absolutely. So this week, like I mentioned, you were busy. You went off to the CCRTA for a press conference there, talking about things that they're doing to really increase transportation services for seniors. This was a very exciting event for the town of Barnstable because they actually presented keys to a van.
Yeah, it was. It was a great event, very well attended. You were there. It was
Yes.
Standing room only. And what a great program. The director over there has done a fantastic job, thinking outside the box in different ways to support our aging population. As you know, 1 in 3 or more than 1 in 3 residents of Barnstable is over the age of 60. And I had the opportunity to go to the senior center. What a fantastic place that is. We've got a great director, great services over there. And this van that the CCRTA provides is really a lifeline, and it's great. It was great to see. We had Representative Keating was there, and several other dignitaries. It was a great event.
Yeah, I love seeing the community get together and rally around services like that.
Yes.
Very exciting to see that happening, and something that I'm sure as the elder population increases over the years. Glad to see that they're making plans for that. So.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for stopping by today,
You bet.
talking everything Town of Barnstable, and we're looking forward to chatting with you again in the near future.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Our guest today, Assistant Town Manager Andy Clyburn. Joining me now live on the phone, we have with us State Representative Tim Whalen. Tim, a lot of work. I think you guys were at the State House pretty late last night debating some changes to the current marijuana law. Tell me a little bit about the changes that are being that actually passed the House.
Sure thing, Sarah. And you are exactly right. We didn't get done last night until about 10 p.m. and left there. And I joined with a lot of members of the House. We left there, and I'm actually out in North Adams right now, and a lot of us came out here. One of our colleagues passed away over the weekend, and the funerals this morning, so you'll forgive me if I sound a little threadbare this morning. I didn't get out here and get to bed until after 1 a.m.
Wow.
After the 3-hour ride out. But back to the bill that we debated yesterday. It's House 3768, and this went through over the past 6 months. There was a joint committee between the House and the Senate that was established to look at the ballot question 4, which legalizes the use of recreational marijuana. There were so many facets to this bill, Sarah. It would be one thing for me to explain to you some of the things that were included in the underlying bill, which would be expanding the Marijuana Policy Control Commission from 3 members to 5 members, making it a separate entity, taking it out from the Treasurer's office. There would be other things such as raising the sales tax on marijuana from 12% to 28%.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yep, that was pretty well covered in the media, as you mentioned, Sarah.
I guess a couple key questions I have for you. I know voters who supported this measure, more than 50% of voters here in the state of Massachusetts approved this measure at the ballot box. And I think some of the concerns that individuals who supported that measure may have now, that the House is changing some things. First of all, I want to ask you about the ability for, I think the bill would actually change the way it's set up. The ballot measure would have forced any towns who wanted to ban recreational marijuana facilities, would have forced that to a vote to all of the residents. That would have had to have gone to a ballot, and the residents would have been able to weigh in. Now, with the changes that are being made, you guys are actually giving this power to town councils. And so how do you feel about that? That's, I think, a big concern for a lot of people who supported this ballot measure.
Well, Sarah, I voted in opposition to the bill last night. That was my final vote. And I wouldn't say that I have, for me, my vote was more of a procedural one in that I didn't like the way that the process has gone from start to finish. And not so much that there were issues with some of the things that were that we had in the bill. But we had 118 amendments that were filed.
I guess what I'm asking, is that a concern for you as well, to take the power away from residents and really put that to small councils and town councils and selectmen?
In my district, in Barnstable, it would affect it. It would allow the town council to vote on it. In the other 3 towns in my district, it would be town meeting that would have to vote on it. I like the idea of a town meeting, but again, I mean, we do have some towns that have town councils. I'm not that crazy about the idea of a group of of just one town council or a city council voting on it. I don't have that much of an issue, Sarah, with a town meeting vote affording that level of local control. The other thing that was a concern, like I said, with this was that you were bringing up earlier the idea. We were talking about the sales tax, the idea of going from 12% to 28%. That's where I've heard the most feedback from people. It's not so much a concern relative to the local control, but more related to the taxes being raised more than 100% over what was included in the ballot. And I'm still not really sure how they arrived at 28% as the number that they figured that would cover the cost, the societal cost, the enforcement costs. And then there's also a concern that I have, Sarah, a very serious concern about does this open a new bureaucracy within state government? Are we going to take this? Are we going to the investigators that we're going to hire to work for the Marijuana Policy Control Commission? How many people are they going to be? Are we going to start a new 1,000-member organization within state government? Because state government right now can't afford to have 1,000 more employees. There's still an awful lot of questions out there. The Senate's going to be taking up the bill today rather. And what's going to happen is I'm assuming that they're going to get a bill through today. The bill that was passed, I believe the vote was 126 in favor, 28 opposed. Again, I was one of the 28 that was opposed. That bill will go to conference committee, and I'm hoping that they give us a little bit clearer of a picture. We won't be dealing with 118 amendments. The amendments really made it difficult to figure out, I think, for some of the members, exactly what was in the final bill when we voted on engrossment. So we can get a closer look when the House and Senate have hashed out their issues.
Yeah, when they see that in conference
report.
committee, right? Another
then
concern.
Maybe my vote will change at that point, Sarah. But I just can't vote for me, anyways. And again, I can only speak for myself. I couldn't vote in favor of it last night, just with the way that the process has worked out.
Interesting. Another interesting aspect of the bill, when the ballot measure was brought to the voters, that was really specifically crafted, and a lot equitable opportunities now really fought to make sure that individuals with, say, who may have been had disproportionately high rates of arrest for marijuana infractions would still be able to legally enter the business, and I think that's being removed in the House bill. So I think that was a concern for a lot of people because they didn't want to exclude individuals who'd been, a lot of the effort to legalize marijuana is largely to, really cut down on some of these disproportionate arrests that take place in our society.
What exactly do you mean by disproportionate arrests, Sarah?
I think that people of color are often targeted and maybe arrested on a more frequent
Sarah,
basis.
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. I have a career in law enforcement. That's not correct.
Okay, I can definitely do some research and get some statistics to you on that. I think it's been shown that in Massachusetts, for example, African Americans made up nearly 7% of the state's population in 2015, but accounted for roughly 34% of cannabis arrests, according to an analysis of FBI data.
That FBI data is I'm going to go with Mike to say that they're specifically targeted, Sarah. That's wrong. That's incorrect.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree on that point. Yep. Now, if voters are upset because they supported the ballot measure, they're upset with the changes, can they go back and have another ballot measure to change some of the changes that the legislature made?
That would be up to the Attorney General to determine the legality of it. It's something that they can certainly look at, Sarah. Let's make one thing clear from the beginning is that with every fiber of my being, I opposed the ballot question, and I still do. I think that legalizing recreational use of marijuana continues to be a very, very bad idea. However, and also the way that the original ballot question was drafted, it was 24 pages. It was written by the marijuana industry on behalf of the marijuana industry and for the benefit of the marijuana industry. I have problems, serious problems with the original ballot question. So I don't want anything that I've said so far, Sarah, to lead anyone to believe that I'm somehow in favor. I was in favor of this to begin with. With every fiber of my being, I oppose everything that there is about it. However, the voters did speak.
That's right.
The voters did speak. That has to be respected. When we look at what happened, I believe it was 16, 17 years ago when the legislature disregarded the will of the voters when they voted to roll back the income tax. I believe that the legislature was wrong when they did that. And that's a concern I have going forward is we do have to respect the will of the voters going forward. There were some tweaks. There were absolutely some tweaks that I think need to be made to the ballot question as it was written. Because, again, it was written by the marijuana industry for the benefit of the marijuana industry, certainly not for the benefit, in my opinion, of the citizens of the Commonwealth. So there are some tweaks that do need to be done in there. I just don't know that I'm in favor of a wholesale rewrite of the entire ballot question.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out on Beacon Hill. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. And, of course, look forward to chatting with you again in a few weeks.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Sarah.
All right, talk to you soon.
Well,
our guest today, State Representative Tim Whalen. Now let's go ahead and find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. Well, the official start of the beach season is kicking off this Saturday, June 24th. Starting Saturday, town beaches, ponds, and other bodies of water will be staffed by town lifeguards. For a full list of beaches in the town of Barnstable, you can go ahead and go visit the town's website, click through to the Recreation Division, and at the Recreation Division, they have a great click to a whole list of our beaches. With the 4th of July just around the corner, you can mark your calendars for the fireworks display that will be shot off by off of a barge in Lewis Bay around 9 p.m. You can enjoy the patriotic night with your family and friends at Azleton Park, Bismore Park, and Veterans Park Beach. You should be aware there is a parking ban on South Street from 5 p.m. to midnight. There will be available parking in the North Street parking lots and Town Hall. For more information, again, visit the Town of Barnstable's website. Well, there are no board, committee, or commission meetings for the rest of the week, so you can just definitely enjoy the beautiful weather we're having. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Natural Resource Officer Amy Croteau about clamming classes for kids. We're going to have our weekly arts and culture segment, and we'll check out recent renovations at the Craigville Beach Bathhouse. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.